Today I'm going to see if I can make this keyboard sound like the synths on Tame Impala's Currents. Well, I'm back. Apologies that there's not been a video for a couple of weeks, but COVID finally got us. We got off relatively lightly, but obviously we were just preoccupied dealing with that, so forgive me that there's not been a video for a few weeks. But yes, I'm back, and I'm back with something a little bit different today. I figured that instead of doing a guitar-based video, I'd actually do something to do with keyboards. I'm not a keyboard player, so I'm warning you in advance that the playing in this video might not be amazing. But as many of you all know, I've mentioned it before in a couple of videos, Currents by Tame Impala is one of my favourite albums of all time. I mentioned it in my albums that changed my life list that I did last year. Just a perfect album, I think, front to back, with that kind of, synthy, psychedelic kind of thing. I think it's a masterpiece. It's one of my favourite albums of all time. One of the things that I like about that album so much is the synth sounds that are on it. Now, obviously, Kevin Parker is famous for being kind of a perfectionist, and there's obviously layers and layers of stuff going on there with a lot of expensive gear. I know there's, I think the Juno is on there, for example. Like stuff like that is, obviously a very complex and intricate album with lots of stuff going on. But what I thought might be fun would be to see if I could take this cheap keyboard that I bought on eBay and see if I can get in the ballpark of some of those sounds by combining this with some of our pedals. So this is the Yamaha PSS 570. It is I guess a kid's keyboard, or like a beginner's keyboard from the 80s. Like I said, I bought it on eBay for 40 quid last year, really just as a tool to kind of teach myself. Prior to owning this, I've never played a keyboard before, so I'm just kind of teaching myself slowly, like I did with the guitar. But the cool thing about this keyboard is that it has a little FM synth section here that you can, I think these are just presets off the synth, but you can actually, there's a few parameters and stuff that you can control. So you've got your normal like violin sound and whatever it is, but the synth is kind of what makes this stand out. And on its own, you can get some pretty interesting sounds, but it leaves a little bit to be desired, to be honest. So I figured if I could combine it with some nice reverb and modulation and delay and things like that, we'll see if we can make it sound like a much more expensive bit of kit. In this video, I'm going to be using the Templo for reverb, the Duplo for delay, and the Junipero for modulation. What I'm going to do is basically try and recreate the tracks, either the synth parts or maybe just, maybe I'll do a little bit of bass and drums and stuff as well to go with it, and see how close we can get to the sound of the record. I thought it was just nice to show the pedals in a different context other than just an electric guitar, as it always is. So yeah, I think we're ready. Let's go. And there you have it. I think it held up all right. I think it did better on some sounds rather than others, but I think a couple of them were definitely relatively close. Like I said, apologies for the playing, but yeah, I think it sounded all right. And I think actually it kind of goes to show that you can actually get maybe not exactly the same sounds, but you can get some very decent sounds out of a very, very cheap keyboard and some effects pedals. So yeah, I thought that sounded really good. Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments what your favourite sound was that we managed to get out of this thing. I'll put links in the descriptions to the pedals that we used. And as always, if you want to find out what we're up to on more of a daily basis, head over to our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And we'll see you next time.